Okay, here we go. We're gonna all right. All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Go. All right. Get ready.
Hi.
Mary Lou, how are you doing?
I cannot hear you. Is it me? Oh, wait. Okay, now say something.
Mary Lou, how's it going?
Yeah, it was totally me. I had you on mute. Hi, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm very glad to be speaking with you right now. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I'm so happy right now. I can't even put a sentence together. So yeah, hopefully it'll get better as we go. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, like I don't know if you saw that I've been binge watching the whole season of when you were on Hell's Kitchen here recently, and sitting here late night writing notes, coming up with things, and just it was fun rewatching the whole thing and watching your whole journey from the beginning to the end. So it was really cool to see it all, and obviously getting the chance to talk to you as well. It's very cool.
How did you watch it? Did you buy it? It's like the only season you have to buy.
No, it's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu? All my friends are like, Mary, your season's the only one not on Hulu.
No, yeah, I mean,
Oh,
yeah, it's on Hulu. I don't think it was recently. I think it just became available to watch. I don't know what package I have on Hulu.
That's
It's,
a
no commercials one, whatever that
no.
is. But yeah, it's on Hulu. So yeah,
Oh.
tell everybody.
Oh, I want to see. I'm like, is it on Hulu? Can I see myself?
Yeah, I was just about to say, if you never watched it,
I did when it was like coming out, when they had it on Hulu, when it was actually airing. But then after that, they just taken it off.
oh, okay.
And then they only put on what, like season 20? I think it went from like 10 all the way to 20, but didn't have 19. And I was like, I got to know. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
gosh,
noticed
I
that.
totally see it.
Yeah, it did skip over. I noticed that a while back, a long time ago, looking for something to watch on Hulu. And I was just like, which one was the one? And it was like, sure enough, it went like 18 and then 20. And I'm like, what happened to the 19? So yeah,
Exactly.
they hooked you up now. They did you right. You're live in effect on Hulu. I don't know about any other platforms, but it's on there. So that much I know.
That's freaking exciting. That makes me so happy.
Right. So, okay, let's
Probably
just,
because I got the new season.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I says probably because they just aired that the new season was coming out, so then they dropped our season. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. Yeah, I saw you post something about that on one of your Instagram stories that they're coming out with the new season. So yeah, I'll be definitely watching that because of course I've watched them all. And but yeah, let's just start there. Now you were never nominated for an elimination, as far as I could tell from all my notes here. And the one thing that you accomplished that I would say was your biggest accomplishment of all of anything is that Gordon Ramsay never called you a donut, not one time on the entire show.
I have to think about all the behind the scenes stuff. No, I don't think he ever did. Usually it's like, if I did something wrong, I always owned up to it right away. And I think because I did that, he would get upset. Like, he wouldn't just say, okay, Mary, thanks for owning up to it. He would look at me, but then he wouldn't say anything because he's like, all right, fine then. Where it'd be like, how much time do you need? And I should need 5 minutes, but I'm like, I need 8 minutes. And he's like, 8. And I was like, 8. He goes, all right, fine, 8.
8 it is, exactly. Now, how exactly did you get on the show? From what I've read in my research here, they reached out to you, but you didn't think it was legit. You thought it was a joke and somebody was just messing with you. Is that true?
I had been asked to be on a previous show on Guys Grocery Games, and then because of my job at the time, they I guess they did such a bad job getting back with marketing that I never actually ended up making it past the initial like phone call of, do you want to do this? So then later on, somebody reached out to me on Instagram and they're like, hey Mary, we've been really looking at you. Do you want to be on Hell's Kitchen? And I'm just like, I don't know who this person is. It's somebody that like wasn't verified and was like, I'm a casting director. And I'm like, are you a casting director? Are you? So then I Googled her and I was like, oh, okay. She either Barney Stinsoned me or she was legit. And I was like, oh, there's only one Barney Stinson. So then I went, I did the interviews and everything, but I never told the job I was working at because I felt like they were going to do what they did to me last time and just kind of do everything they could not to get back with the people. So I was just like, you know what? Don't even tell your job. Like, see if this works out. Cause like, is it really gonna work out? If things seem too good to be true, they usually are. So I was like, let's just do this. And after a couple of months, I did the paperwork. That's a lie. I didn't do paperwork until literally the last day. But I did all like the videos and pictures and the talking to different people. And then after that, I was working in Texas and I flew to Florida and I was opening a restaurant in Florida with my company. And then that's when they just reached out to me out of the blue and they were like, hey, Mary, can you fly down to California and talk to all the producers? And then after that, it became real. And I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, I told her, I was like, no, I can't talk to the producers. I need to stay here. I need to open up this restaurant. Because of course, the day they want me to talk to the producers is the day that the restaurant opens. That's just how life works.
Of
course.
So
like, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Like, this is silly because my GM had told me, Mary, they're only putting you on that show because you're entertaining. They're not going to put you on that show to win. They're just going to put you up against people they know you're going to lose against. And so like my confidence was shot. I was like, I don't want to do this. And it took one of my friends, his name's Ryan, and my other friend Maurice. They were like, Mary, if you don't go there and talk to these people, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. So we stayed up late, we read over the contract they sent me, and then I sent a message to one of my old bosses, and I was like, hey, if for some reason I don't work for this company, could I work for you? And he was like, of course you can. So then the next day I was like, cool, I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to tell the CEO and the corporate chef, I can't be here for these 2 days. Can I fly out? And when I got there, apparently they'd already known because the manager that I had asked took a screenshot of our message and he sent it to the GM who sent it to the CEO. So everybody already knew. And they're like, so Mary's quitting. And it was a rough day for me.
So the boss that you were confiding in, did you dirty and sent that to your current employer and said, this is what's going down?
Mm-hmm. We're not even going to say his name because he's dead to me. Dead to me.
That's perfectly fine.
Who he is. He is dead to me.
That's messed up. Wow. I mean, damn. I mean, two ways of looking at it is that shady and a horrible thing to do, but you must be pretty damn valuable at what you do if they're trying to make sure you don't leave and make sure you stick around. Obviously, opening a restaurant's a huge ordeal. I mean, I do have a teeny tiny bit of restaurant experience, but it's nothing remotely close to that. It's your average, like I was a waiter and I sucked at that. I was in a kitchen briefly, but it was at a chicken wing place. That really doesn't count. You're not really doing anything. You're counting wings, you're throwing them in a bowl, you're throwing sauce on them. That's really about, I mean, come on. I do more
learning basic skills.
Yeah. I do more complicated things when I cook at home than doing that. So and I was a to-go guy once, and that was probably the longest extent I had in the restaurant world. And the one thing that blew my mind was the to-go wasn't as busy, obviously, as the rest of the restaurant. You know, weekends are always your busy times, but I would sit there and I might have like 3 tickets or something. And I'm just sitting there waiting against the counter, and they're just spitting things out constantly. How in the world can you keep track of all that stuff? You got somebody yelling out stuff. You got all the people calling it back. It's just controlled chaos. And I'm like, I don't know how. And then the guys who worked in the kitchen would go play soccer in the parking lot after we were working. I'm like, how do they have the energy? I'm like, I don't know.
It's all the leftover adrenaline.
It must be, because it is literally, like I said, controlled chaos. How you can keep your head, keep track of all that. Like I can multitask, kind of, nowhere remotely close to that. So to be able to do that, flourish in that environment and do that is a definite unique skill set that very, very few people have.
I definitely can't be anywhere quiet. Like if I'm somewhere that's quiet, I'm like, what's going on? Because like, I think for a lot of us in the kitchen that when things are too quiet, we start to like stress out a bit because it's like something's not getting done because it's too quiet. I need to hear something going. I need to hear the ticket printing. I need to hear something searing. I need to hear something in the fryer. Like, quiet. Something's wrong.
Interesting. Okay, makes sense. I get it. I mean, if it's too quiet and something's going wrong. Okay. All right. So
that's why I have to have something playing at all times. Something is just in my house playing, whether it's a TV show, whether it's like a YouTube video of somebody talking. I'm like, I need noise.
You need some kind of, okay. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way in a sense, like even at my job, the sales job I have, like when our boss walks in, one of the first things she'll say is, where's the music? And either she'll turn it on her computer, and we have like another computer like in the closet with all the servers and all that kind of stuff and everything in there. And that's like the first thing she'll do. Sometimes the music selection is not the best. Sometimes there's things you don't really care to hear. Like I think I heard more Guns N' Roses songs today than I probably have in the last like 25 years. And I don't mind Guns N' Roses, but I don't want to hear because it's literally like a playlist. So it's like the same stuff looped over and over. So it's like,
But
okay,
you know
here's Sweet Child
exactly
of
when
Mine.
the
Here it
next
goes
song
again.
is.
Like, oh, great. All right. So the third time, and it's not even lunch. So yeah, so thankfully somebody changed it. But yeah.
Is it like
Okay.
when you're little and you were like watching TV when they used to have like the CDs, like now that's what I call 80s, and you would know when the next song was gonna come on? And I'm like, you spin me right round, baby. And I just jump into the next song because you're so used to hearing those same songs over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah, exactly. And I've worked too many jobs when I was younger in retail, especially at Christmas time, when you just hear the same stuff over and over. And it used to drive me nuts. It's like they play it soon as like the day after Thanksgiving, and then all the way to Christmas. And some places play it after Christmas. I'm like, hey man, it's done. It's a wrap. Christmas is over. We can't do this anymore. I can't hear Jingle Bells or Winter Wonderland anymore. I'm just gonna, I can't. I'm gonna go walk into traffic and just hope for the worst. I cannot take this anymore. I don't like Christmas music that much. I don't think anybody does. You have to hear it 8 hours a day for like weeks on end.
I can understand that. Definitely when I worked in front of the house, we would always have our playlist. But ours would actually jumble, but I knew which one. We had like the 80s playlist. We had Solacious. Solacious was always my favorite. I don't know who always updated that playlist, but I'm like, Solacious today, guys.
Right.
Let's do Solacious Christmas.
Okay, so let's take it back to when you first started. When did cooking become something that you were interested in? When did it become something that you thought, hey, maybe I could do this as a career? When did that all happen when you were younger?
I was like 16 when I thought I could make cooking a career. I think all the times that I'd been to restaurants, I just never thought of people actually working in the kitchen. I was just like, well, I have to eat, so I'm going out here. And I was in either like home ec or whatever home ec is now. It was one of those classes,
Right.
and we were like doing our cooking training. They're like, she handed out pamphlets because I guess we're all like about to be juniors and you need to start picking around what you want to do for your career. And they were like, you can go down this route of culinary arts. And I was like, what the hell? People can work and get paid for this? That's great. I was like, I love eating. And so then I just kind of got more into it. I was already good at it. I wasn't great at it, but I was like, oh, out of the like 5 things Mary's actually good at, this is one of them. And I was like, all right, let's do this. But my dad, he was a chef, my biological dad that I don't really talk to. So I think part of it might be like spite, that I was just like, oh, this is what you started. Now look at what I did. But that's between me and my
better, sure. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you I know like when I was younger, right when like you start hitting the growth spurts, I was always hungry all the time. And I was always nagging my mother when she was in the kitchen cooking, like, when's dinner gonna be ready? When's this gonna be ready? I'm hungry. So that's kind of how I got my start in learning how to cook things and do stuff in the kitchen. Obviously not on anything close to your level or anything like that. But did you have like something like that? Like maybe a mom or any other relative that was in the kitchen where you were just like always there, just trying to learn, or just nagging them because you're hungry like I was?
No, and I always wish that I had that, because whenever people ask me like, how'd you get into cooking, and I want to be like, well, I was always at my Nona's knees when she was in the kitchen and she would let me hold the spoon. I don't have that at all. My mom would cook, like my mom would make, I don't know, just basic meals, but it wouldn't be anything that I'm like, oh man, like teach me how to make these things. I learned a lot from Food Network. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that my mom would let me try anything that I saw. So we would print out a recipe. That's how you know like it's older, because I would print the recipes out on foodnetwork.com. And I was like, Mom, can we try this? And she's like, all right, let's try it. And I would just practice by making really terrible food for my mom. And she would eat it and she would tell me I'd break every sauce that had butter in it. Every sauce would be broken. The kitchen would always be a mess. I'd always use too much butter because I'm like, Mom, the French people say you have to always use a lot of butter. And she's like, no, this doesn't work. Or too much cream. And it took me a while to find myself and what I like. Like I'm still searching for that.
Oh, that's cool. That's funny that your mom would let you print up things and just whatever. And would she just be like all supportive, like even if she didn't think it tasted good, and she's like, oh Mary, this is so good, you did such a good job, and just like keep supporting you that way? Or she would subtly say like, well, maybe next time we'll do it a little bit different or something like that?
It would be like that. She would try to eat it and she would look at me and she's like, I think that you did a good job on trying and blah, blah, blah. Cause I was always so sensitive. And I'm like, thanks, Mom. And then I would eat it after she ate it and I would spit it out. And I was like, why are you eating this, Mom? It's terrible. And she's like, I just want to support you. And I was like, you're amazing. Can we go get a pizza?
Let's go get some pizza. There you go. Right. Pizza solves all problems. Exactly. That's probably why I have the high cholesterol that I have now from too much pizza years. So yeah, my cardiologist would be thankful that I've cut back. So, okay. So I believe you said right around high school is when it kind of like started, the seed was planted in your mind. Like I could do this and pursue this. Was there anything else that you were thinking about doing back then? Or this was just like it and you're like, you know what, put my head down. This is what I'm going to do and make it happen.
My godfather, who practically raised me, was always trying to get me to either be a divorce lawyer, to join the military, or to be an architect, because he said, all of your friends are going to always get married, and you know what's going to happen? They're all going to get divorced, and who are they going to call? Mary, and then she's going to make all the money. And I was like, it took me a while. I'm like, I don't want a job just so I can make money. I want to be happy. But even in my career, like doing food, I started going more towards where the money was, and I wasn't happy until I went to a place where I made less money, but I just had more fun. But I looked into, I didn't want to join the military at all, and I didn't want to be a divorce lawyer. So I was like, I could be an architect. I like to draw, but there's a lot of math in there, and I am not that good at math. And I was like, that's gone. So that's
I'm right there
pretty
with
much,
you with the math.
it's hard. I was like, what? You have to do, no, I'm not doing that. I know I went to college at first for journalism and communications. I've always wanted my own like cooking show. Like I told you, I was raised with Food Network, and I've always wanted my own like show, like Emerald Lagasse, and people would sit at the table and I would tell stories and I would also make food. And maybe if the audience was good, they would get some of the food too. But the three people that are up in the front, of course, you guys are getting fed. And I've been doing some of these things at the conventions that I go to, and I'll have panels, and I'm like, I want it to seem like that. And I will make the food from the different animes, and I will have people sit up at the front and we'll start handing food out and just talking about it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I'm sure obviously since being on Hell's Kitchen, you are probably just crowds of people waiting to talk to you and try your food, because I mean, everybody loves to eat. I mean, who doesn't love to eat? So, I mean, and if it's good, I mean, win-win across the board. Who wouldn't want that?
Exactly.
So you went to UNT Denton, right?
Yes.
So just hop, skip, and a jump. I'm in Dallas. I'm like literally Denton. I'm actually in Denton County, but I'm in the city of Dallas. So yeah, I mean, UNT is probably, I don't know, 20-minute drive maybe for me from where I'm at right now. So right down the road. Yeah. And then you went to the CIA in San Antonio, correct?
I did.
So what made you, you said the degree in communications, but was the food, like you said, you wanted to do the cooking show on your own. So the food was always there, even though the communications degree can take you in different directions, but that was the main goal, was just try to get the cooking show, right?
Well, I didn't graduate with my degree in communications, because by the second year I sat on the steps and cried because I hated what was going on. And I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this is stupid. I don't want to be here anymore, because my teacher had told me, if you can't pass this class, then you can't get this major. And what are you even doing here? And I was like, what am I doing here? I don't even like any of this. Like, I'm good at communications because like I'm good at talking to people. That's not how you get a television show. I know that now. And so I sat on these steps and I cried and I called my mom, and my mom was like, Mary, please do not quit. Let's try something else. Cause I got a full scholarship. So it's like, don't quit.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then while I was sitting on the steps crying, I saw these like people in school in chef coats just walk by me. And so then I started following them, because I was like, where are y'all going? Where's my chef coat? And then they went into the CMHT building, which is like Central Community Hospitality Management and Tourism, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And yes. And then I went and I made it an appointment with the advisor. And then that next week I switched my major and I got my degree in hospitality management tourism with a minor in communications, because I had already done so much of it that it was just like, hey, take one more class. And I was like, cool. And then I ended up getting my degree in culinary arts from the CIA right after.
Okay, I was about to be the next question. How much was it? Was there any gap after UNT to going to the CIA?
I went
Right
straight
into
in.
it. Okay. And how long is that when the culinary school? How long does that take from start to finish?
About 18 months.
Oh, okay. Not too bad. Not very
No.
long. I mean, it's still long, but not that long. I mean, obviously not like a 4-year kind of thing, but still 18 months is still pretty involved. And I didn't even know they had one in San Antonio. So I started kind of doing the research to talk to you here. And I was just like, I know there's one in California, right?
Yes, there's one in Napa. There's one in New York, obviously. I think there's one in China.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know that there's like an Asian campus because one of my chefs would go there. Or Singapore, one of those places, there's one there. And then at the time, the newest one was in San Antonio. So because it was so new, my dad or my godfather had taken me to go look at it. And he tells the story in like a different way, in such a dad way, where he's just like, and then I took her in there and I knew that I was just gonna have to spend all my money over here. But we looked at what is it? A couple of community colleges that offered culinary arts. We looked at the Arts Institute together. And we could have easily gone to all of those because I was like, Dad, it's not about the school, it's about the education. Like I'll be fine. But then he goes, do you want to just look at it? You want to see what it is? And he did it on purpose because he knew I was gonna want to go there. And I walked in, he goes, yep, this is gonna be all my money. And I'm like, you're such a dad right now.
That's funny. Well, hey, it all worked out. So, I mean, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, and I didn't ask him for any money. I got most of it paid for, and then now I have like 10 grand left, but hopefully they like get rid of those school loans because I've had that 10 grand left for like 2 years now.
Right. So you were I know last week when you emailed me, you said you had to reschedule when where was it? You were back in San Antonio seeing family and
Yes, I
friends?
went back home to see my mom and I thought I could like fit it in, but then I had too many things going on. I'm like, Mary, just don't rush, just like reschedule. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, as soon as I saw that, that's like in the reply, I was like, yeah, don't worry about this. Like, please, family and friends are the most important thing. And you moved to California earlier this year?
Yeah, 5 months ago. And so it was my first time coming back. And immediately I saw my mom and I was like, Mom.
Tears
And
immediately.
yes. And she did, the back rub when they hug you. And she was just like, hey, baby. And I was like, I missed you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I was just like, yeah, enjoy your family and friends. You've been gone for a while. I'm sure they've missed you as well. So yeah, I mean, this can wait. Obviously, I mean, I'm very thankful that you were able to reschedule and we are able to talk. So, but yeah, I was just like, when I got the email when you said first on your schedule, I was like, oh no. I just, the automatic pessimist part of my brain popped up, and I was just like, oh no. But she's like, family and friends. It's like she wants to reschedule. I'm like, okay, whew, good, all right, cool. She's going to do it next week. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. So yeah, so I'm glad you got to be able to do that because yeah, to try to fit this in and make this just too much because with these things, like I've done two other episodes, no, three, scratch that. It's all been sports. So this is like the first thing that is not sports related that I have done in this podcast in 4 years of doing it. So I was really looking forward to it just because it's going to kind of get me out of the comfort zone. And I mean, sports is what I know more than anything. So it's just like the chance to get to talk to you, but it has nothing to do with that. Get me out of my comfort zone and do something completely different and try to keep branching out into different things besides sports because, not everybody's a sports fan. So, you're kind of cutting down your audience a little bit when you only talk about one thing and one thing only repeatedly. So the fact that I think this will open up a lot of doors to just different people to see it. Plus, you have people that want to hear what you have to say and what's going on, and you put it on your IG story. So people probably saw it are going to hopefully check it out. I mean, I hope so. That's the plan. So, I mean,
like I put it on both pages.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So, okay, I've got some questions for some friends of mine, and my friend Teddy, by the way, is a big fan. When I teased this in the very beginning, when we were kind of saying like, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure," and we were trying to figure it out. I put some on my social media, and I was just like, "There's a special guest I'm working something with, trying to work out with. It's not sports related, so it's going to be very different." And he texted me, and he was just like, "Hey, man, I'm a good friend. Tell me who it is." And I was like, all right. Well, I was like, it's not 100% yet. I was like, it's still in the kind of beginning stages. But I told him, and he was just like, literally the text message was like, wow. I mean, like all capital letters. He's the biggest fan. And here, let me just go ahead and look it up. I probably should, here we go. Go back.
Well, thank you, Sal.
Yeah, so feel free to say hello to Teddy while I'm looking this
Hi,
up.
Teddy. Oh, sorry, I hiccuped in the middle of saying that. Hi, Teddy.
He'll be very happy to hear that for sure. But yeah, he said, wow, I can't believe this. I'm so jealous right now. She is a total rock star in the kitchen and is insanely cute.
Thank you.
So Teddy's a big fan. He loves him some Mary Lou. But yeah, one of the questions.
Thanks, Teddy.
Right? Okay, so here we go. After you've worked all day in the kitchen and you've been, just the stress that comes with that job and everything, what are you doing when you get home? Do you go home and cook another meal, or do you just pick something up on the way home and just be like, that's it, I'm tired, I can't do it? Because that's literally what you did all day. And now you're going to go home and cook another meal for yourself, or do you have something like pre-made and you just kind of, do it that way to save yourself a little time?
It really depends on what time I'm coming home. So right now, I got off of work maybe about 45 minutes to an hour before I saw you. And so I just walk back since I'm like in California. So yeah, it takes me like 40 minutes to walk back. So I was like, come on, Mary, hit your power walk in there. And I ate right before I left. So I'll probably end up making a little snack later on tonight, but it won't be anything too big. But whenever I get home and it's very late and I am like kind of hungry, I'll just make something small. But I always end up making like pasta. I always end up making cacio e pepe. I'm like, not today, Mary. Don't make that. And I get home and I'm like, you know what I could go for? Some cacio e pepe. And I was like, I did buy that Parmesan cheese earlier. Or I'll take some from work and I'm like, yes, Mary. Or I'll prep what I want to make at home at work. So when I get there, it's all like, just dump it.
Okay.
That's the smart part. But I don't really do any like big extravagant meals unless I'm by myself, or not when by myself, unless I'm off. Mm-hmm. Or I know that my other two roommates are on, because it's fun to cook, but when you have somebody to cook for, it just, I don't know, it just makes it better. So I'll let them know, like, hey, ladies, I'm getting off in like 40 minutes. What do you want for dinner? And one of them's always like potatoes, and the other one's always pasta. I don't want this. Make something like this. I feel like this today. And I'm like, okay. And it just calms me down after a hectic day. But that's only in an AM shift. PM shift, nothing big, small. I'm tired. Okay.
What a perk to have somebody like you as a roommate to cook dinner, to come home and be like, you're texting them or saying like, hey, what do you want? I'm like, man, that would be fantastic to have that as a roommate.
I'm an ideal roommate. I'm like, I pay on time. I can't say that I'm quiet because I'm not, but I pay all the bills on time. I try to make sure that I do my part in like the trash, but they do give me a lot of free range in the kitchen. And I shoot my YouTube show or like my Instagram channel like shorts there, and they will let me like just leave all my stuff there. And I'm like, hey guys, can I leave like this whole camera set up and half these items in the kitchen so I can do it tomorrow? And they're like, yeah, it's fine.
By the way, the last episode with your beard that you had on the YouTube thing, that looks fantastic. That looks, when I watched that, I was just like, I wasn't hungry when I started watching it, but now I am. I was just like, damn, that looks so good. How do you come up with these things?
Well, I like to combine my two loves, which is like cosplay and then cooking. And so I just was like, hey, I really wanted to make it's because Secrets of Dumbledore was coming out, and I was like, what does Dumbledore eat? And then I was like, Dumbledore likes raspberries, which you only know if you read in the book. And I was like, what can I make that's raspberry? And I was like, oh, let's make a raspberry treacle tart. That'll be fun. So then I had to learn how to make a treacle tart. And like, there's so many just bloopers that I had that I was like, Mary, don't put them all in here. Probably make them into like little shorts and just post them. But I didn't really feel like it was teaching anybody how to cook when you watch that. It's just me ranting and quoting Harry Potter the entire time. And with my roommate, and she's just like, she came in, she had 2 wands, and I was like, I have 2 wands. You have 2 wands. Let's do this. And we just didn't do anything but quote Harry Potter all day.
Yeah, I like how you would like have the beard on and you like go to the side and then the beard's gone. Or like, wait a minute, put the beard back on. Like there's a couple times where you're like doing something, you had to move the beard out of the way, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, and then put the beard back, and now it's all back on again.
Or like I put it on my nose once and I didn't realize it, and I'm like editing the video and I was like, dang it, Mary.
I know. I was just
put it everywhere.
It was very entertaining. When I first saw it, I was just like, what in the world is she doing with this beard? I was like, okay. And I was like, now once you started going, then it started making more sense. I was like, okay, now I get it. Okay. So, all right. Another question. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff that usually see it, I think, on like Instagram where they say he or she is a 10, but so if you're dating a guy, he's a 10, but every time he goes in the kitchen and starts trying to do something, the smoke alarm goes off. He's burning everything. He's a horrible cook. He's a 10, but he is just the worst cook ever. How would that work with you?
Oh, that's fine. Like if he's a terrible cook, I could teach him small things. It's just like, hey, babe, you're burning everything. Just turn the burner down a little bit. It's fine. You don't have to go fast. Or hey, you have the oven set too high. Just turn it down. I was like, why are you in a rush? If you're burning something, it's because you're in a rush to do something. Turn it down.
Okay, so you could make that work. You could just start
Yeah.
teaching the little things and then kind of watch his progression and kind of build him up. Okay, makes sense. That's a good idea. And then let's see, we have here, what's another question for a friend? If you had a boyfriend, would you be okay doing all the cooking? Meaning like he's almost nervous or worried about like you're getting your approval, because obviously you have a skill set that most of us don't have. And some of us can dabble in the kitchen here and there, but obviously your level is like something that most people are not on. So do you think a guy would be intimidated trying to cook for you because obviously you have such a skill set? Would he be worried trying to be like, oh no, with this, is she gonna like this? Is this gonna be okay? Like, because all the way you've been on Hell's Kitchen, the place you work now, would that be able, like, you think that would be something to get in the way, if that makes sense?
No, that wouldn't get in the way at all. I feel like if once we get to know each other and they're just like, hey, Mary, I'm really nervous to cook for you. And I'll be like, why? And they're like, because you'll probably judge it. I'm like, I probably won't. The only time I'm ever judging some type of food is if I'm paying for it, because I'm paying for it. But if somebody takes the time to you're going to take the time to cook for me, like, thank you. I appreciate that. I love when anybody cooks for me. And the only time you'll know if I don't like it is if I eat it super fast, because I don't want to taste it, but I don't want to let anyone down. And I'll be like,
well, it was so good. Yeah, I just had to eat it so fast.
They're like, do you want seconds? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. But if I'm like slow, or like when I like something, I always dance. I don't know how, but it just is always me, just like, I'm just like bouncing while I eat. And they're like, is it good? And I was like, oh, am I dancing? I didn't even realize it.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. Let's bring it back to like the Hell's Kitchen part of when you were on the show and everything that happened on there. And one thing I noticed when I rewatched it, why is it when they had, like, they put, you're on the spotlight, not used to necessarily, but like the person's like, oh, at my restaurant where I cook fill in the blank item all the time, I do this so well, like this will be easy. And it never fails. Whatever it is, they go into that particular episode and they're on that particular station and it's a complete cluster. How is, like, if you do it all the time, wouldn't you be able to do it on the show? Or is it just because the show is so much additional pressure? Nerves?
Yes, it's nerves. It's the pressure of like Gordon being right there. And then it's also like, yes, I do this all the time in my kitchen, but it's my kitchen that I'm comfortable in. Like, I'm still learning how hot these burners get. Like, it was my first time using a French top. I'm like, what the hell is this big ass hot table? And why are these things hotter than others? Like, I'd reach over something, it would like scorch my hand. I was like, what the damn hell is this? Can I have the regular burners that I turn on and off like this? It was like messing me up, because I know for sure when I made the steak the first time, I was like, yeah, I can make a steak. Like, you talk to my mama, I can make a steak. Usually when I was back at my old restaurant in Texas, I usually work in the grill. I'm either saute or the grill. And it's really cute because I'm only 5 feet and you see all the big dudes there, and then you see small me and I'm like, all right, what else do you need? So I thought it was good. And then I make that first steak and one side was beautiful, but the other side wasn't beautiful. And I gave it to him and then he flipped it over and I was like, oh shit. You were supposed to flip.
Yeah, I remember just seeing that episode. I want to say like Sunday, and you're like, I'm from Texas. If I can't cook a steak, they might kick me out.
And then he's just like, Mary, what is this boiled beef? And I was like, yeah, everybody gets one. It's the nerves. And then after that, you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, you
I'm
nailed the
good.
next one. Yeah, they were fun after that.
Yeah, I never had any problems after that. He came up to me later on and was like, make a good steak, Mary Lou. And I was like, you're talking to me. Oh my gosh. I was like, you're real, touch him. Just thank you, chef. Thank you.
Yeah, that was when I rewatched everything, when I binge watched it this past weekend. Like I said, like you seem like almost like you were kind of timid and you weren't sure of things. And as I've read different things where you've done other interviews where you're like, you almost went home right after the beginning because you just felt like you didn't belong there. And did something happen to make you feel like you're like, I don't know, I want to go home?
It was like still in my head talking to like my GM and all that stuff. So that was my GM who told me that people were just going to send me home when I talked to him about being on Guy's Grocery Games. But when I was allowed to do Hell's Kitchen, and what's his face, who we don't talk about, had sent the screenshot to everybody. Exactly. Yes. I ended up having 3 different conversations the day before I left. One was with our CEO, and we were opening the restaurant close to a mall. So he took me, he's like, Mary, let's go for a walk. You always know that's bad. If they ask you for a drink of water, or like, Mary, you should get some water. I'm like, fuck, we're going to be here for a long time. Or let's go for a walk. You want to go to Starbucks? And I was like, oh, you're buttering me up or something. So I went to Starbucks. I ended up getting 3 coffee drinks that day because each person had to let me know. One guy was just like, I always wanted to be a football player. And then I realized that that dream isn't something that can be accomplished. And the next guy was like, yeah, I used to have a chef and he was on Top Chef and he went home on a barbecue episode and we had a barbecue restaurant and everybody like made fun of him and did this stuff. And then I can't even remember what the third one said, but it all went around that where it's like, hey, you can have these big dreams, but they're probably not going to work out. And then you're going to want to come back. And so I had all that in my head. I already have my own like thing of imposter syndrome where I'm like, all these people are going to just be so trained and everything is going to be so just like hoity-toity fancy, tweezer type plating. And I was just freaking out and I was nervous and I was in the hotel and it was the day before we're supposed to get on the bus and officially go to Hell's Kitchen. And I was bawling. I was like, I don't want to be here. Mary, you're not good enough to do this. You're going to just embarrass yourself, just like everybody said. And then everyone's going to watch it on TV. And then you're going to go back home with your tail between your legs. And they're going to be like, Mary, you're a loser. So I was just freaking out. And I called 4 people, called my ex-boyfriend at the time, one of my best friends, his name was Darnell. I can't remember who the 4th person was. And then I called my mom. And, you know, your mom's supposed to be like, hey, baby, don't worry. But instead, she was like, look at yourself right now. Why are you acting like this? And I was like, So I was like, all right, you just go. And so like I'm on the bus and no one's talking because we're not allowed to, but you just see me like shaking. Everyone thought I was cold, which I was, but when I get really nervous, I shake, just like shiver. And I was just like, oh God, I can't be here. It was so scary.
Yeah, I remember when when Gordon introduced your mother on one, like when I think was it when you guys got the black jackets, and that's basically what she just said. She's like, she gets in her own head too much, and she basically had to tell you like, come on, you can do this. Like, you know, don't need to overthink it or sell yourself short. And then look where you were at that point. It's like you had already done so many things up to that point, and it's just crazy to think that you were seriously considering not staying because, I mean, look what you accomplished. You did amazing on the show.
Thank you.
So yeah, good old mom, always there to get you back and always to let you know, you know what, Mary, don't overthink it. You're gonna be fine. Just do what you do. Be Mary Lou. That's all you need to do.
Oh my God, I like that. It's a good slogan. Be Mary Lou. That's all you need to do.
Right. So since you've been on the show, once it was over with, how has your life changed?
Well, this when the pandemic had hit. So they didn't air it for like a good year and a half, almost 2 years because of the pandemic. Yeah, so we filmed it in 2019, but it didn't air until 2021 because we finished around May, and it takes them about 6 months for them to edit everything. And they're like, March of 2020, we're gonna air it. And then that's March of 2020 is right when the pandemic hit. So it's like nothing happened. And I thought that I was going to be working with Gordon at the time. And so I let my lease expire, and then I moved in with my mom. And then that's when the pandemic hit, because I was like, Mom, I'm only gonna be here for like 4 months. I'm gonna save us some money. I was like, and then I'm moving to Las Vegas, like it's gonna be fine. She's like, okay, baby. Pandemic hits. I was stuck at my mom's house for a whole year. And it's like, it sucked. Like, I loved being close to my mom, but my stepdad and I didn't have the best of relationships. And also I was like 50 minutes away from work, so that drive was terrible.
Right.
Yeah, and it was all right. It helped me learn a lot about myself. And since my mom knew eventually I was going to be leaving, my mom and I are already best friends, so we were just closer, and we were hanging out, doing anything that we could. She's like, I gotta soak it all up while I can. So I had a great time with that. But after everything had aired, I think a lot of people saw me in a different light. I can come off as very naive and childish. And that's one thing that I've always really been upset with, but that's my personality. I'm happy. I am a happy person. And sometimes people don't know how to handle that, because when you see the chefs, you're expecting like either the skinny chef with the glasses, or the big chef with the beard, or like the small chef who's super smart, but you're not expecting this like really like Punky Brewster type quirky chef that's just walking around singing rap songs to everybody in the kitchen. That's me. I can run my shift and everybody will be happy. But when shit goes down to the wire, like I'm there, like I will flip the script, we'll get out of the weeds, and I'm all like, yeah, guys, we did that shit. And then I'll go back to singing. So
nice. That's awesome.
And
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just everybody started to take me a lot more serious after that. Not the guys that I work with. They already knew. They're like, Mary's great. And I was like, yes, I am. But then the world was like, you're cool.
Exactly. Right now. Exactly. Yeah, because now obviously you've had this wonderful opportunity to meet me and talk to me on this. So yeah, I mean, what else can you ask for, right?
Killing it.
But yeah, I read this article. I think it was in the San Francisco newspaper recently, or somewhere in the Bay Area.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, this quote really stood out to me. It said, when she brightens the entire mood of the kitchen, before she comes in, we'll just all be kind of silent. We listen to music and we're prepping, and she comes in and it's like an explosion of energy. She just gets the mood up. And I was like, from rewatching the show, I was like, that is literally who you are to a T. I mean, you just have that vibe, that energy where it's just like you said, you're always happy, you're always smiling. I mean, from the very beginning of the show, that was like you were just kind of seemed like you weren't comfortable. But the further things went and the more of your personality came out, it was just like, I mean, that's why I became a fan, and probably everybody else, because it was just like, man, this chick is like, who is this girl? Where, the first episode with your hair, when Gordon's like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he commented on your hair. Like, my hair changes all the time. It was pink last week or whatever, something like that.
He's like, what made you want to do this? For a while, I was like, does he not know that this is a wig? And like, I brought a bunch. I would change my wigs all the time in the kitchen. Like I would be something for a week, and then I would change it to this and change it to that, because it was the only way that I could like express myself. So when I got to be on Hell's Kitchen, I brought like 5 different wigs with me, and they were like, so Mary, which color are you going to be? And I was like, all of them. And they were like, no, you're going to be one. I was like, what? One? And I had done my original interview with purple. So when I did my interview in person, somebody was like, oh my God, that's the girl with the purple hair. And I was like, I guess I should be purple. So I just stuck with that color. But I didn't know what to say to this man. I was like, why did you do that? And I'm just like, once again, he is talking to me. Say something smart. Because I said a lot of dumb things to him, and I'm glad they didn't air that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, what is it like when the first time you meet Gordon Ramsay? Because everybody's obviously seen him on TV where he's just, cussing people out, throwing stuff, just all sorts of just anger issues that he's throwing at people and all that. It's like, what is it like when you first you meet him? What is he like?
So the first time that we saw Chef Ramsay, we were all like in some type of little party thing, little cocktail party, and we were like drinking champagne. And you don't know this, but I have a champagne campaign because I am the champagne.
Oh, I've learned. I've seen your Instagram.
And so they had the one glass, and I took it and I shoved that first glass, set it down, grabbed another glass before anybody noticed, because they had like a bunch of them. And so then I was like drinking the other one really fast so I can grab a third one, because I'm like, I bet we're not doing anything today. And then he showed up, and so I was already a little tipsy, and I was like, oh shit, this is ridiculous what's going on right now. But luckily we had a whole bunch of like talking about things, but that's why I'm like, is he real? Is he gonna ask us to do something? And then I'm over here panicking and I'm like, are we gonna do it in this restaurant? So I heard nothing of what he was saying because I was too busy thinking, all right, Mary, don't look drunk. I was like, you don't look drunk. Yeah, no, you're not drunk. You're just a little tipsy. I'm like, you're just a little fun right now. Ugh. But seeing him was like, like I can't believe it. Like you see him on the telly and there he is in real life.
Right? Yeah. Were you starstruck a little bit when you saw him?
Oh, absolutely. I get terribly starstruck. Like I can see, I don't know, somebody from a show that came on like, I don't know, 20 years ago. And I'm all like, do you know who that is? Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. Don't let us see you looking at him. And then I'll look over. I'm like, that's it. I get terribly starstruck. So meeting somebody like Chef Ramsay like really blew me for a loop, if that's the right term. But the first time he actually talked to me, I was chewing the hell out of some gum. I was just like, because I don't know, nerves, but I was chewing the hell out of that gum.
Probably.
And he was like, you, purple hair, spit out the gum. Love the hair, hate the gum. And I was like, I didn't know what to do with it. Somebody from production comes out and gives me like a paper towel and I just like stuffed it in my pocket. And I was like, thank you. Love the hair, hate the gum. I would have swallowed if he told me to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, probably what I would have did. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, just down the hatch, right?
It's gone.
How many people do you still keep in touch with that you're on? I mean, I know you and Corey seem like y'all had a pretty good bond, obviously, because y'all got to the end together. And
I need to call her. She told me to call her last week and she was like, call me. I was like, now? And she goes, no, later this week. And then that was like 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna call her. I will call her.
There you go.
I hung out with a few of the people maybe at the middle of June. We had done some event with Jordan and this company called Elevation. So I was hanging with Jordan, Nikki, Drew, Brittany, and Cody.
Wow.
All of us were together and we just were cooking and having a good time. I still talk to Nikki, Jordan, and Corey. Those are the ones that I talk to the most. But yeah. Like there's no aversion to any of the people. I just had a stronger bond with them.
Sure. Well, of course, I'm sure you've been asked this millions of times, and I apologize in advance for that. But the whole, whatever happened with Cody, the whole Cody Lou, what happened
Cody
there?
and we started dating, and he was the reason that I moved specifically to this town in California, and then it just didn't work out.
Oh.
And so I'm here, and I think he's in LA now, and that's it.
And that's that. Okay. Well, yeah, hey, you gave it a shot.
Anticlimactic. Yeah, we tried. You think something's there, and then I don't know. It just didn't work out.
Well, that's a bummer. I'm sorry.
Me too. I really like that boy.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. I'm sad to hear that it didn't work out, because I know as you guys got to the end and got the black jackets, it seemed like there was something a little spark between the two of you.
At the time, there definitely was. I kept trying to like ignore him because it was like, now there's one more person that I have to try to impress. Like when he was just another contestant, I'm like, get away from him. I need to just focus on Gordon. But then he just kept like trying. And then I just really liked it. And I was like, dang it, I'm starting to like this boy. And I was like, I need to be focused. So
we persistence won out.
It did.
Okay. Well, being on the show, I thought I read something somewhere, like, are you guys basically like no contact with like the outside world the whole time you're filming the show?
Yes.
So you're basically just like sequestered like a jury, basically, almost.
Absolutely. We are sequestered like a jury. We stay inside of the dorms 6 days out of the week. The 7th day on Sunday, they put us in the hotel room and they take you to the hotel room one by one so that you don't know where anybody's hotel room is. And then you stay there and there's no TV and there's no internet and there's no phone. And there is a radio, but I don't know if they just didn't confiscate my radio, because I was like, I was like doing a little dial so I can
the old school turn of the dial. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, what's playing? I need to know. And I was like, okay, what songs are coming out? And they would just leave you alone in there for like pretty much that whole day. And you would just sleep and like relax. And they would come by and give you food, or they would take you out to go like walk. It's because we're in Las Vegas, so we could go like to the grocery store or go to the mall or go get ice cream, like something so that you don't get stir crazy. And then you
Yeah, I was
come
just
back.
about to say, yeah, if you're locked in a room all the time or locked in the dorms, I mean, how do you not go crazy? It's no phone, no nothing. Like, man.
I slept a lot and I took a lot of showers, and it was nice because I could sit on the floor in the shower. Because the showers are like the little dorm showers, and I'd go in and I'd wash and then I'd leave. And then these ones are the big hotel showers, and I'm all like just out.
Just loving every moment.
Yeah,
Wow.
or like you just turn and you have the hot water hit your back, and I was like,
just sitting there, yeah. Just
sitting.
Wow, I can't believe it. I mean, you're just basically like locked away for how long does the whole, like from the beginning, because obviously you made it all the way to the end. How long did the whole taping last?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, about 3 to 3.5 weeks, because we left on like the first or second week of April, and then we ended on Cinco de Mayo. Because I remember when I finally got my phone back, I called my friend. I was like, "Happy birthday!"
Wow, I figured it would be a lot longer than 3 weeks. How much? So did you guys
Every
how
day.
did the filming go? Did you just knock out like how long did you guys go for each day? Was it like all day long or
all day long? So it's like we'd get up.
Really?
Maybe like I think they'd get you up at 7 or 8. You don't control the lights, they control the lights. So then they would turn the lights on. So they're all like, get up. So then we'd all get up, and they'd give you like an hour and a half to get ready. It was nothing where it's like, do this now, except for one episode where they like busted in. They're like, hey, you guys got to get up. And I was like, why would you do this? But they'd wake us up like that. Or if somebody was still asleep, there's a phone in there, and the production would call and they'd be like, wake up Jordan. It's always Jordan. Jordan, like, well, she's like, I want to sleep until the last 20 minutes. So then they'd be like, hey, wake her up. And you can't wake up Jordan by saying, Jordan, get up. Like, you have to be gentle. So Cyan would always wake Jordan up. But when Cyan got eliminated, it was up to me. And I was like, hey, Jordan. And I would sing Rake It Up to her all the time, but I would say, wake it up. I'm like, I tell all my hoes, wake it up. And then she'd be like, okay, I'll get up. Because if you woke her up like aggressively, she was a bitch the whole day.
So had to ease into it. Otherwise, it's just going to be catching hell all day from her. Okay. Was there anybody who? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, so we do that. We get up and then we go straight into our challenge. And then after your challenge, whoever won would go to the reward. Whoever lost would go to the punishment. You do that for a couple hours. Then you come back, get dressed or get ready, and then you go straight into service. And we would do that for maybe about 3 or 4 hours of service. And then after that, you'd go back. He would do his deliberations. Everybody would come back. Whoever was supposed to be eliminated, they would be in the front and the other people would be sitting down. And then he would eliminate the person and he would tell the other people who are standing around to fuck off. And we'd go back in and we'd eat. And then we would do confessionals. And then we would go to bed and we'd sleep for like, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 hours. And we'd get back up and do it again. It's like boot camp.
Pretty much, yeah. Was there anybody on the show? Because I had another friend of mine that he's really a really talented singer. Tried out for American Idol, gosh, long time ago, and he didn't get picked at all. Like even beyond the show. And he was saying basically all the people that had any kind of talent were not getting going to the next step. It was all the people were bad. Because you remember like when it first came out, within like the first maybe 3 or 4 years of the show, they had so many people that were on there were just horrible and just bombed, and Simon Cowell would just rip on him. He was like, all those people were getting put through left and right. Do you think that they put people on this show, and you don't have to name names, although I have one in mind, that were like, they are out of their league like this, and it was a guy on the blue team that was just like, it's just always something. It's never their fault. They're always screwing something up, a bad attitude, always getting in people's faces. Like, did you guys as a whole like look and go like, this dude shouldn't be here? Like, why did they bring him here?
I think I could be very naive when it comes to something like that, because I know some of the other people on like the teams were like, I don't know why this person's here, but I never like to talk ill of anyone because I feel like, what if everybody was already thinking that of me, where it's just like, why is she here? When you see me on the bus, or when we did a couple of our first challenges and my food wasn't that good because I was too busy in my head, and I could see everyone looking saying, what is she doing here? So I wouldn't say that about anybody else, because I don't know what it is that you have that everybody else saw, but I do know that the season that I was on, we got a lot of compliments from the guest chefs saying how our season was different because our people can cook really well. And that's not to say that the other seasons had like bad chefs. I'm just repeating what they had said.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Best restaurant you've ever had a meal at?
No, that's an impossible question.
Do we have to like narrow it down to like what kind of food? Like best Italian restaurant or best sushi restaurant or best, like, would that make it easier? Because you've probably been to a lot of places, I can imagine.
I've been to a lot of restaurants, but I just feel like I haven't been to enough restaurants, and then everyone's gonna just judge everything that I say. Okay, best restaurant. I haven't been to a lot here in California. You would think I have, but it's a lot different than being in Texas because most of the restaurants are closed Mondays and Tuesdays, and me working at restaurants, I'm off on Mondays and Tuesdays, so I can't go to a majority of restaurants because they're not open.
Is that like a COVID thing, or is it just a California thing? That's why they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays?
I think it's a mixture of both, because also like everything closes around like 10 o'clock, and they're like, because of COVID, we're still recovering. But most places are there just the 2 days off that people get because everybody works the entire time is Mondays and Tuesdays, and a majority of the restaurants don't open until like 5 p.m. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So when I'm going in and I'm getting off at 10, I can't go eat anywhere. So now that my schedule is it's trying to change. It's trying.
Okay.
It's been trying to change for a month now. We're gonna get there. I know it. But I have not been to enough places. But let's see. All right, Mary, you got this. Back in San Antonio, I really enjoy Signature. I really enjoy Clementine. I love going to Cured. So we have those. It's a Stephen McHugh's restaurant. And I think he's amazing. And I hate that that Texas itself doesn't have any Michelin star restaurants, because I don't really know what all the criteria is for judging. But
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's none in Texas. And so whenever I came here and I told everyone I'd never eaten at a Michelin restaurant, they were like, what? You've never eaten at a Michelin restaurant? You call yourself the chef? And I was like, oh my gosh, stop with the California douchery. Like, stop judging me.
We got too many steakhouses in Texas. We got so many steakhouses. You go to any city, just spin the wheel, and you could probably find like 10 steakhouses that are that are very popular and whatnot in Texas. And then, so yeah, okay. Well, okay. What is your, like you said, what kind of food, like the places you just named, what kind of food are all those places?
I feel like all of them are like just Cured does a lot of like American cuisine, but they're doing a lot of American cuisine with like a focus towards the South and the whole Creole type of food. And that's what I really love. And that's really near and dear to my heart. While Signature is more of like up and coming, like nuanced American style cuisine. And then I feel like Clementine just does whatever they want to and what's in season.
Okay.
I'm like, I'll take it. What's going on? Like, they're always trying something new. I know a lot more like San Antonio restaurants than I do California. Like going to Las Vegas, I just feel like a lot of those are things that you see on the strip, and they're all like very well-known restaurants. And we went to a lot of steakhouses, but when I want like some food that reminds me of home, but it's like good cuisine, I like those three. I love the Hoppy Monk that's in San Antonio. I love the Hoppy Monk. It's great. And they serve a lot of Southern food and more of like Tex-Mex variety, but more towards Mex than Tex. And I was like, this is great.
That was literally one of the things I was just about to ask you about, like Tex-Mex. What is your favorite? Because obviously, I'm sure you've probably heard this as well, because from people I've worked with in the past that have moved from California to Texas, they say we don't know what Mexican food is in Texas. I'm like, well, we call it Tex-Mex for a reason. That's duh. It's like, it's in the name, Tex-Mex. So they're like,
a blatant lie. I've been looking for at least one good taco since I've been in Oakland. I was like, where's the Mexican food? And they're like, here, go over here. And it's not that great. It is not that great at all. And they were like, you want to go down more to San Jose? I'll say it to somebody's face. They were like, you want to go to LA or you want to go to San Jose? And I'm like, yeah. food together. Because San Antonio, we're real close to Mexico. So like that's how I was raised, where like I speak like a Spanglish mixture. So when I speak to my friends in Spanish, or when I attempt to, my friend, they're in Spain. So my best friend, she's in Spain, and we'll speak to each other. And she's like, "You speak that Mexican Spanish." And I was like, "That's what I was taught." Okay?
Exactly.
I was like, "That's what I know." And she's like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "What does what you said mean?" It doesn't make any sense. Like for example, I would always talk to one of the ladies I work with, Maria, my heart and soul. And I was like, "Maria, ¿cómo se llama bowl?" And she's like, "Bola." And I was like, "Bola is not a word." And she's like, "Sí, bola." And I was like, "Really, just bola?" So then I talked to my friend in Spain. I was like, "How do I say bowl?" And she knows the exact word for it. But no matter where I go, I will be like, "Hey, how do you say bowl?" And they're like, "Bola." That's not a word. But that's the word that I was taught in San Antonio. Bola. Bola.
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, hey, it works. If you know whatever, if we're all on the same page, it works. It's fine. Okay, so we'll just keep this to San Antonio. Best fajitas in San Antonio.
Mamacitas. I think Mamacitas has the best fajitas. Like Papacitos is good, don't get me wrong, but Mamacitas that's what I had grown up on. That's good.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I would say it's funny, born and raised in Texas, but my family's all from the East Coast. My mom and dad were from New York City, and they moved in like the mid 70s, like 5 years before I was born. So I've had people tell me, it's like, "You're not a real Texan." I was like, "What are you talking about? I was born in Dallas. What do you think?" But so like,
That's from me.
Exactly, right? I like barbecue, but if I'm going out to dinner or if I'm hungry for something, barbecue's not like near the top of the list. I do like it, but it is not, Italian food's my favorite. You don't have to twist my arm ever to say like, "Hey, let's go to any Italian restaurant." I'm not talking like Olive Garden. That's crap. But like real Italian food. That I could do all day, every day. Give me some tiramisu at the end, and your boy is as happy as a pig in shit, basically. Like that does it every time. Like birthday, special occasion, some good news. Italian food's going to be the go-to, and then the Tex-Mex will probably be second. So those are definitely the two go-tos I have. So yeah, I was curious. I was like, because everybody loves fajitas in Texas, and I was just like, she's got to have a good answer for this. I was like, I know she knows. She's got to know the spot in San Antonio for sure.
I love Mamacitas.
So how often, I mean, obviously you were just back in Texas, but like, was that just like you just had some time off, or like you have any more, like, what I'm trying to say here, how long are you planning on staying in California? Is like an indefinite amount of time, or just kind of see where this opportunity where you're at now leads to? Or
I want to see where this opportunity leads me to. So the reason I went back to Texas is because of the breakup that I had. And my mom's like, "Come back and let's talk it out." And so I came back, and, my mom and I cried it out. And then, well, she didn't cry. I cried it out. And then it was just nice being around family, and then coming back and then feeling refreshed. And I was just like, "Okay, Mary, you know, like all of Lizzo's songs where you're like, I'm going to focus on myself and do these things now." So I had all of, that's what I'm working on, is me. And I don't know how long I'll be here, but I don't plan on staying in California for, like my whole life. I don't plan on settling down here.
Sure.
I told my mom I'll probably stay in Oakland until my lease is up. And then when it's up, I'll figure out which other part of California I want to go to. Or I don't know. I've been reading Eat, Pray, Love, and now I want to go to Europe.
Okay. Why not? Why not? Everybody's got to go to Europe at least once. And it's not like I've been there. I'm just, saying that because there's just so much culture and everything, because their countries, everything goes back so far, and they have, I mean, I know I have, a guy I used to be kind of friends with, don't really keep in touch with anymore, who's Greek, got married in Greece, wanted to go to the wedding, but I had to have knee surgery like 3 or 4 weeks before. And it was just like, go pay for the surgery or go to Greece. It's like, which one do you do? My knee was just in bad shape. So old football
I can
injury.
understand. Like, that's a lot. It's like $1,000 just to get a ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
And you won't spend too much money when you go there.
Right, exactly. So I was just like, yeah, my knee's in bad shape, and let me fix it. So yeah, that's another thing. I always tell this to any woman that I talk to. In the event when you do have children and you have a son, don't let them play football. As much as I love sports and I talk about sports all the time, it just beats you to death. It just tears you up. I mean, I've had 3 knee surgeries. I've had 6 screws in the middle plate here. I don't know if you can see the line from where I broke my arm and dislocated my elbow. Like maybe I just had shit luck, but it just beat me to death. And it's just like, and I did this for fun. I didn't get a college scholarship out of it. I volunteered for all this for free when I was in high school because I had these delusions of grandeur that, oh yeah, I'm going to go play in college and all this. And it's like, I had one growth spurt when I was 12 and I never got taller. So that, the size and lack of talent caught up with me fairly quickly. And then I got hurt. So I was just like, yeah, well, this ain't going to work. So yeah, exactly. So yeah. I mean, it's just, I love it. I talk about it all the time. I love fantasy football. I mean, I could literally talk anybody's ear off about that, but it's just one of those things. It's like, I can still hear my mom's voice saying, you should have stuck with baseball, because I never got hurt playing anything else but football. So yeah, it's, but yeah. Okay. But here's another one for you. This one kind of just came out of clear blue. Any plans on visiting the DFW area in the near future?
I don't know. I don't know what I have going on for me there. Like before, Jordan was there, but now she lives in Vegas. So if I ever went to the DFW area, it would be with that. I know last year around October, I had done an event with the Breast Cancer Association. So they might hit me up to do something else there. And then I know that there's the state fair, but my plan is to go to Houston, because I really want to go to the Texas Renaissance Fair because I go there every year.
Oh, okay. All right. Are they at the same time? Because the state fair is usually like, I guess like late September, like maybe like middle to late September is when it starts. Then it kind of goes to like, because my birthday is in October, and there's the fair is always usually going on my birthday, usually for like maybe another week or so. So I guess it's like middle September to middle October. Because being a huge big sports fan, there's a big college football game between Texas and Oklahoma that's played in the Cotton Bowl every year in Dallas, and usually that's priority. I have to ask for that day off months in advance to make sure I can watch the game and yell at the TV and drink too many beers and hopefully watch Texas win. But yeah, the fair's fun. The fair's, I mean, it's a lot of fried food. They literally will deep fry anything at the state fair.
Oh, I've been to the state fair a few times.
Okay, so you already know. All right, so yeah, it's always funny how they always put it on the news every year. It's like, oh, this year they're going to make fried margaritas. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, what? How? What? Like, it's just.
I made a fried burrata for my roommate the other day, and she was like, fried burrata? I've never heard of that. And I was like, well, one, I'm from Texas. We fry everything. I was like, but it's cheese. You get the cheese, you fry it. I was like, then you cut it. It's gooey. That doesn't make any sense. But everybody in California that I've told that I fried burrata, they're like, are you serious? I was like, well, yeah, I just fry things.
Right.
We fry a lot of things in Texas. Coat it, fry it.
Right. Did you ever, I know I sent it to you one of the emails, and we were sending emails back and forth. Did you ever do an event for Central Market in the DFW area like a year or so ago?
I didn't, but a lady saw me in there when I was doing the event for the Breast Cancer Association.
Okay, so it was in Central Market, but it wasn't for them specifically.
No, I just was buying my ingredients there, and a woman was like, oh my gosh, you're Mary Lou. And I was like, hi.
Do you get off after the show? Yeah. Did you get recognized? Because obviously with your hair, that kind of is gives it away, I'm sure. But you change it.
Yes, I wear a lot of wigs. I just dyed my hair pink, so we'll see how that one goes. I told mom, I was like, that's what you do in a breakup. You get a tattoo and you dye your hair and you get something pierced. So I was like, hair, dyed, done. I was like, maybe I'll turn it back purple later, but right now let me live my pink flamingo fantasy. And she's like, okay, babe. So I get recognized a decent amount. It happens not as often here in California because Texas, Texas, they know me there, but also Texas is like a very big state, but we're all very like supportive of our own. I feel like California doesn't have that, where they're just like, yeah, California, we do this, blah, blah, blah. But Texas, like, hell yeah, Texas. You know what? Somebody was on a TV show. When I see that person who did something, it's great. Or when I went to New York and somebody just drove by and they like hit the brakes, they're like, are you Mary Lou? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, you did that thing, girl. Because I like in the East Coast, that's awesome. I love being over there because nobody's shy about it. They're just like, hey, hi.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, you're dead on right. When you were first on Hell's Kitchen, and then they have your name and where you're from, I was just like, she's from Texas. I was like, okay. I was like, let's see what this girl can do. Because, like you said, the whole Texas thing, and then obviously you just got better and better. So I was like, okay, this will work. This girl.
I'm like, ooh, and she's actually good.
Right. Exactly. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, Mary. I could sit here and talk to you for, I mean, I've got like pages of questions here, but I don't want to, you've worked all day. And
I'll have to come back then.
If you're willing to do it, I'll be more than happy to have you on here again. Trust me. I mean, when you said, and oddly enough, when it was the lights, no, the smoke detector, that's how this all started. You put something on like an IG story about a smoke detector that would not stop like chirping, and you took the battery out and everything. Like literally, I'm pointing at it right now in my place right now above the TV in the living room where that damn thing was doing this, and it never happens during the day. It always happens in the middle of the freaking night, like 3, 4 in the morning, and it pissed me off so much. I literally just ripped the thing out of the wall, ripped all the wire. I'm like, I don't care. I'll pay for it when I move. And you replied back to like whatever I said. And then a friend of mine who's like always telling me like, if I ever get the chance to talk to somebody and invite them on here to try to do this, he's like, what do you have to lose? If they say no, you're in the same position you were 30 seconds before. So like you replied back like maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it was later. You're like, yeah, that sounds cool. Email me here. And I was just like, I was shocked.
I'm good in person, but my friends tell me like via text and via email and IG message, they're like, you come off very dry. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to say. I type what I was thinking. And they're like, yeah, you just don't ever seem excited. And then I talk to you and you're always just happy. And I was like, oh, do you want me to just send everything in cap locks? That's too much work. It's like, hey, okay, sure. All right. And then I'll meet you.
I mean, it was pretty, it was like quick to the point. It was just like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. Email me here. And I was just like, okay, cool. So yeah, it was, I was very, very thrilled and very happy because I've been looking forward to this. Because like I said, I've been trying to do this for 4 years. I think I gave you like a little bio of one of the emails I sent you about how I've been trying to
I watched one of your videos.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, if I'm ever going to do a podcast, I don't want to get on and I'm on some type of like, I don't know, like Aryan Brotherhood podcast on accident.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I'm all like, oh, that was a bad idea, Mary. So I'm like, let me make sure. I was like, okay, it's cool.
It was probably one of the interviews with the football player guy, I'm thinking.
Probably.
Yeah.
I can't tell you which one. Because I was like, I was watching and I'm just like, okay. I was like, he's not asking any weird out of the blue questions. Everybody's really engaged. I was like, okay, I can do this. We're cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I saw something where like on the SoundCloud is where I put like all the audio, because I just started doing these videos with the guy who's the football player that I'm friends with. And we have another one this Friday, as a matter of fact. And I won't go into that, but I'm trying to figure out how to like do this and make it look more professional. Because I'm good at talking. I can do this all day long. I mean, that's why I'm in sales. But the marketing aspect of it, I suck. I suck at it. Like I've never been I don't know. It just doesn't come to me naturally. I can do this all day long, but yeah, I mean, I know we've talked for, like an hour and 20 minutes, it looks like ish or so. And it's gone by in a flash.
5 minutes late.
Well, that's all right. Fashionably late. That's what we're supposed to do, right? So, but yeah, I mean, if you want to do this again, Mary Lou, I would be more than happy to do it again because I enjoyed talking with you. And, like I said, I got so many questions. I got even more pages over here that I didn't even break out. I was like, let me see how many of these I can get through because, I don't want to, when I do these, like I'm still learning and I want to let the guest say whatever they have to say. And if there's something that's, a story that I don't know about or whatever, the audience, obviously, like they're going to be tuning in to listen to you, not to me. Like there's 150 podcasts of me babbling on by myself about sports and football and everything else. Like if you want to just listen to me, there's more than enough out there. So the fact that you came on here and I've, put it on all the social media to tell, like, they're going to want to hear what you want to say. So it's like, I'll just sit back, ask the questions, let you do your thing, let Mary Lou shine. Like you said, like, what are we going to talk about? I'm like, you're going to be the star of the show, darling. Like, this is why they're tuning in. They don't need to hear me talk.
I just didn't want to not be prepared. You're like, Mary, why didn't you be prepared for these questions? I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I know you've got a busy schedule and I know you were working today and I know it's about to be 7 o'clock?
7.
7, right?
Not
yeah,
7. Yeah, you're 2 hours ahead.
That's right. Okay, cool. All right. Well, yeah, Mary Lou, we'll be in touch. I definitely would love to do this again if we can make our schedules work. Like I said, I'll make it work for you. Exactly like that. I mean, if you got the time to do it, I'll find the time to make it happen. Put it that way.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, Mary Lou,
good to me.
Yes, it's very, yes. Thank you so much. Really, truly, Mary Lou, it was an honor and a pleasure to have you on here today and to speak with you and hear all the stories about Hell's Kitchen and everything and how you got started. And it was really, I enjoyed it and I can't wait to do it again. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to the next one.
All right. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it so much. We'll do it again soon.
Yes,
Bye,
sir.
Have a good night.
Bye. You too.
See you later.